Hey guys, today we're making shepherd's pie. I set out everything that I think we're going to need, and let's get to it. All right, we're going to toss 2 pounds of ground lamb into a cold pan. You can use beef, but honestly, the only reason I use lamb is because Cammie prefers it. So that's what we're going to be using. Once you get it in there, you kind of want to mash it down into the bottom of your pan. Just like press it all the way down, all the way around your pan. And then we're going to turn on high heat, and we're just going to let it sit there and try to get some good browning and color on the bottom. Felt like that is good. Now I'm going to grate some of these carrots. I'm going to grate the carrots and the onion. It kind of forms this structural mesh in it. I haven't actually done this part yet. I usually chop it, so I'm kind of excited to see how this turns out. But I'm following a recipe from Adam Ragusea, and his stuff is great. I've definitely made probably 3 or 4 of his recipes. I cannot recommend him enough. But anyways, I'm going to finish up these carrots, and I will get back to you. All right, I ended up only using 3 carrots instead of 4, but I got myself my onion, and I left this bottom piece on here so it would be a little bit more solid. And I'm just going to go ahead and grate this into here as well. I can smell that my meat's browning on the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in that shredded carrot and onion now. Then I'm going to go ahead and just break this up. Just like that. And then we're going to cook this until it's about to burn. I'll bring you back for that. All right, we got our meat going. Chopped up some potatoes, peeled them. They're in the pot, boiling. We'll use that for our topping. That'll be good. This takes a little bit to get the moisture out, mostly because there was a lot of fat from the lamb. It was 20% fat. And then also the onions and carrots hold quite a bit of moisture. So when putting those in there, it definitely brings some more moisture into the dish. Takes a little bit longer. So we probably got another couple minutes on this, then we'll lower the heat to medium. And yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat down to medium, and I'm going to add in some tomato paste and some flour. If you have a thick carpet of brown stuff on the bottom of your pan, if you're using like a cast iron or a carbon steel or something, that's phenomenal. That's almost ideal, actually, compared to not having anything like I do right now. I'm using a ceramic frying pan that I haven't used before, and it is very non-stick. So I do not have a brown coating right now. But if you do, don't freak out. That's a good thing. So once your potatoes are fork tender, and when I mean fork tender, I mean when you try to pick them up, they just break. That's really what we're looking for in this dish. Like this might even go a little bit longer. Once they are, just drain them through a hole in the pot lid. That way you don't have to use a colander, or use a colander. I don't give a shit. All right, once those potatoes are done, I'm going to throw in a stick of butter. I'm using Kerrygold butter. That's like the best butter I can find on the market. I'll grab it real quick. It will show you Kerrygold Irish butter. So good. The best butter I can find. And once this starts to get some toasty notes and it looks like it's going to start burning, I'm going to go ahead and throw in half a bottle of white wine. I'll see you there in just a second. All right, guys, I'm going to be adding in my wine here in just a second. This is the kind I have. It's a Pinot Grigio. If you have a white wine, that would be best. Makes it a little bit more fresh. And if you have a carpet of brown stuff on the bottom of your pan, that's great. This is deglazing, and that's what's going to get rid of that. I'm going to use about half of the bottle. Yeah, it's about half, maybe a tad more. All right, and then we're going to reduce this. We let that stick of butter melt in there for a while, and I just mashed it up a bit. We're going to add a little bit of milk. You can use whole milk, 2%, I don't give a shit. This is lactose-free milk, because that's what my wife uses. So that's what we're going to be using today. So you're going to want it to get to kind of a thinner consistency, than you think you're going to need it. Because we're going to be adding some more stuff like cheese and egg yolks in here to make it a little bit thicker so it bakes better. So do not get too concerned if it's a little thinner than you want it to be. Alrighty, it's reduced quite a bit, so we're going to go ahead and add in some Worcestershire sauce. Quite a bit of it. I mean, you can go upwards of half a cup of this stuff if you want to. It's really good, tastes great in shepherd's pie. Then we're going to add in a whole slew of spices. This has thyme, sage, mustard powder, garlic powder, etc. So we're going to go ahead and move that around. I'll put a list of spices and whatnot in the description for you guys. So anyways, we're going to cook this quite thick because we're going to have to top it with the potato mixture. And if it's not thick enough, then it's just going to be kind of a mess. You also want this to kind of cool down a little bit, and you want the potato mixture to be hot. That way it spreads the best. So anyways, I'm going to keep reducing this down just a little bit, and then we're going to do some final seasoning and tasting. All right, so for the potatoes, we're going to throw in some freshly shredded. All right, guys, and for the potatoes, we're going to add some freshly shredded cheddar cheese, and I also added some Parmesan. The recipe I'm using calls for 2 ounces. I probably use 3. I like my potatoes super cheesy, I found, after making this recipe a couple times. I'm also going to add in a couple of egg yolks. We're going to get this mixed, and this is going to be our topping. We'll probably add some salt and maybe some pepper, and that'll be just about it for this. So just give that a good old mix. And that cheese will melt. You really want to use freshly shredded cheese. I know it's a bit of a pain, but geez, just buy a block and do it. It's so much worth it. I mean, honestly, the pre-shredded stuff has kind of this coating of like waxy starch, and it makes it not melt so well. They have that on there. That way it doesn't clump together so bad in the bag, and that's all great and all, but it also doesn't melt. So it kind of ruins the whole point of it to me, because you want cheese to be, I don't know, cheesy and melty. So anyways, that's what this is going to be. Yeah, that's about how I like mine. So we'll probably add some salt to this because I haven't salted it at all, and that much potato is going to be fucking bland as shit. We're just going to guesstimate that. We don't need to add too much. There's a lot of salty components in the beef, or sorry, the lamb, and also I added some Parmesan to this, and Parmesan's pretty salty, so. That's good. Alrighty, I've had this off the heat for a little bit, and I'm going to add in a bag of frozen peas, and that's going to help cool this mixture down. You really want this mixture, the meat mixture, to be mostly cool while the potato mixture is mostly warm. That way the potatoes spread well over the meat. And when you add in the peas like this, the frozen peas taste just as good as non-frozen peas, and they're a lot less work. And it helps to cool down the meat mixture at the same time. So anyways, but if you add them in too early, then they'll get mushy. But do it like this, it works out well. So I'm going to spread this out, and then I'm going to get the potato mixture, and I'm going to start bringing that over here. Keeping that warm on the stove right now. It looks pretty good. Yeah. We'll call that there. And here's my potato mixture. Let's drop it in globs all over. That way I don't have to spread it as far. I like quite a bit of potato on top of my pie. I think it tastes good. And then from here, I'm just going to kind of spread it to the edges. Doing your best not to incorporate the meat with the potatoes. You want to keep them on separate layers as best you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. If they do incorporate, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the taste at all. It's just not going to be as pretty. But honestly, who cares about pretty as long as it tastes good? So any potato that you get up on the pan is just going to turn kind of crispy and golden brownish in color, which is really, and it tastes really good. So make sure to try to do that. And then when doing this, I like to use a fork. Supposedly it's traditional to use a fork on a shepherd's pie like this. And I've usually done circles, but today I'm not going to do circles. I'm going to go like this. The reason that you fork it is the more surface area that you have, the better texture you're going to get on top. The more space it has to get crispy and crunchy. So, and since we added the cheese and the potatoes, it's going to get like crispy and cheesy. So I'm going to go this way and the other way. I'll see when I'm done. Alrighty. The oven's set to 400 degrees. Got my shepherd's pie going in. Woo. That's hot. Also, look at this. This is a handle that Cami crocheted for my pan. Super nice. That way I can slide it in the oven and take it off, and I don't have to use a oven mitt. Yeah, that's the word. Oh, I just realized I forgot to add my freshly chopped rosemary into the shepherd's pie earlier, but well, it's a little late now. All right, guys. Here it is, straight out the oven. Looks pretty good if I say so myself. This pan is ripping hot. I gotta be mindful to not touch it. Then I'm gonna take some, I don't know if it caught that in the... Oh, it just happened again. I'm pretty sure it caught that one. All right. Sprinkle some chives on here. I don't know how much this really does for the taste, but it sure looks pretty. Probably not worth the $3 or $4, but oh well. Kitty, you gotta stay out of here, baby. There's chives everywhere. All right. I think that's probably good on the chive front. Let me get the stuff that's out. No, go away. All right, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of this rosemary that we forgot about earlier, because you know what, I just feel bad for not using it. We're gonna sprinkle that over here a little bit. And we're gonna call that good. Let's get a close-up shot of that. Looks pretty good. So anyways, we gotta let this sit for about 20 minutes before we cut into it. If we cut into it right now, that meat mixture is just gonna be basically molten lava, and it's just gonna spill it everywhere. You give it 20 minutes, it's gonna set up, be more firm, and you'll actually be able to pull it out with the spatula. While this is cooling down, I wanted to show you guys that I made some sourdough the other day and some sourdough cookies, which turned out really good. These cookies are kind of cakey and they're perfect. They're some of my favorite chocolate chip cookies I've ever made. I'll have to give you guys a recipe. Yeah, we'd be eating on paper plates around here.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to try this. I've been begging him to make this for the past couple of weeks, so I'm so excited. It's so good. Oh my gosh. The softness of the potato, it's so creamy, and the way he did the design on this, so cool. Crispiness on top of the potato, the lamb is cooked perfectly, the frozen peas, the carrots, the flavor, I don't know, everything is so good. Yeah, for sure.